Joining us now, Congressman Leonard Lance of Clinton Township, Hunterdon County. Congressman Lance held a town hall this week and survived to tell us about it. It was pretty raucous, Leonard. Was it unpleasant?
No, it was not unpleasant. It's always a pleasure for me to hold town hall meetings, and I want to hear from all of my constituents, even those who may not have voted for me or whose opinions may differ from my own. And I try to impart information to the group, and I certainly receive information from those who attended the town hall meeting.
The crowd was angry, were they not?
Certainly there were some in the crowd, and I try never to respond with anger. I believe in civility in political life, and I have always conducted myself that way and will continue to do so.
You have been doing this in the past, but I think this one was unlike any of your other town halls.
I've done 40 in-person town halls. This was my 41st, and I do an equal number over the telephone. And in 2009, I participated in a town hall meeting where I was the host, where there was a lot of Tea Party members in that group, and that was vigorous as well, and this was vigorous from the other direction.
Is this a mirror image of the Tea Party in the making?
I don't know yet. It's possible, certainly, but I hope that we can come together as a nation to solve the difficult issues that confront us, particularly regarding reforming the healthcare system, but there are other issues as well. I was impressed at the town hall meeting, the number of questions I received, for example, on Russia. Usually I don't receive a lot of questions on foreign policy, and I certainly did at the town hall meeting.
Let's get to Russia if we can, but first let me ask you, why do you think so many people turned out?
I think there is a disappointment with some based upon the election of President Trump. I know the feeling. I was very much involved in Mitt Romney's campaign, both in 2008 when he was not nominated and 2012 when he was nominated and defeated, and I was extremely disappointed that he did not become president. And obviously there are some people, including quite a few in New Jersey, because Secretary Clinton carried New Jersey, who are disappointed with the election of President Trump.
You're the only New Jersey Republican to hold a face-to-face town hall. Why do you think the others are avoiding it?
I don't speculate regarding my colleagues. I think each is responsible for his or her congressional district. I try to lead by example, and I've always held town hall meetings, including in-person town hall meetings, and that is what I did this week.
As you indicate, there's a lot of consternation about Donald Trump. Do you know Donald Trump?
I have never met Donald Trump. I know the Vice President, Mike Pence, because we served together in the House of Representatives, but I have never met the President.
And he hasn't addressed your caucus?
Yes, I have been in a room with him as he has addressed us at a retreat in Philadelphia, and there were probably 800 or 900 people in that room. And so I was in the audience as he spoke with us, but I have never personally met him.
How do you regard the Trump presidency so far?
I think there is a mood in America to shake up Washington, to shake up the status quo. And from my perspective, the reason that Secretary Clinton was not inaugurated is obviously because she lost the Electoral College vote, and I think that is based upon the fact that quite a few Americans, particularly in targeted states in the Middle West, feel that the government is not on their side, and the loss of manufacturing jobs, and the fact that so many middle-class Americans want to work and really don't have that opportunity.
You say that America wants to shake itself up. Steve Bannon spoke at CPAC this week and said that what he and the president are about is the deconstruction of the administrative state. What does that mean to you?
I'm not sure I share that view. I think government has a role to play, and certainly I greatly favor the private sector. But in my responsibilities in Washington, Michael, I see that there is an important role for government to play, not only domestically, but obviously in foreign policy. And I was pleased that the president appointed his new national security advisor, and I think that that is a strong appointment. And I hope that the president will take into consideration the views of his national security advisor, his secretary of defense, and his ambassador to the UN in foreign affairs particularly, as I say, regarding Russia.
So you're not for the deconstruction of the administrative state?
I am leaning in the other direction, but I do think we need reform, and I do think we need to do a better job regarding fiscal responsibility. This country is $20 trillion in debt, and so that's a path that is not in the right direction, and so I think we do need reform in this country.
You say this nation is $20 trillion in debt. Do President Trump's numbers add up? He wants to cut the corporate tax rate. He wants to cut the taxes on the middle class. He wants a military buildup. He wants a $1 trillion infrastructure plan. He wants to make Obamacare cover everybody at much less cost. You're a fiscal hawk. Those numbers don't seem to add up in the abstract.
That's why we need to proceed with caution. I don't think that Obamacare can be repealed completely. I think it has to be repaired, and I would do it cautiously over time, not in the first month or 6 weeks. And also, we're going to be discussing tax reform later this year, and I think we should analyze that. I hope we can bring profits from abroad that are now frozen abroad because of our high corporate tax rate. But I certainly want to look at the bottom line. For example, on the building of a wall with Mexico, I don't want to spend $20 billion on that.
Mexico's going to pay for that, didn't you hear?
I have heard that, but as a fiscal hawk, and I'm definitely a fiscal hawk, I think that we have to examine all of these proposals in the context of a cost analysis.
You cast one vote that puzzled me in this Trump era. The House of Representatives overrode a bunch of Obama executive orders. One of them dealt with guns. There are 75,000 people on Social Security disability who are too mentally impaired to handle their own accounts. They have relatives or trustees who handle their SSI accounts for them. The Obama order made them ineligible to apply for gun permits. The Republican House overturned that and said these 75,000 mentally impaired people should have a Second Amendment right, and you supported that. How do you explain that?
Thank you for the question. I think it's an excellent question. That executive order was opposed by the ACLU as having gone far too far. And I tried to read the information that reaches my desk, and the ACLU is not known as a conservative organization, but they thought that it was overly broad, as did mental health groups in this country, stigmatizing those who have received these benefits. And I would have favored a more narrowly tailored executive order. The Obama administration issued this order at the last minute virtually in the administration, and I would hope that the Trump administration might work with the ACLU and other groups to have a more narrowly tailored order.
So you're saying that some portion of these 75,000 people who are too mentally impaired to handle their own SSI accounts are well enough to be able to own a gun?
My information is that some do not have significant impairments, but they've asked to have someone handle their affairs. And I'm certainly willing to look at a new executive order, but I was significantly impressed with the opposition of the American Civil Liberties Union.
You brought up Russia. It's been reported that there were contacts between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians during the election. How troubling is that?
That is troubling if it's true. Certainly, Russia tried to influence our election from its side, from Moscow, trying to influence Washington and the American nation. And unfortunately, Russia does that across the globe. This is not the only country in which Russia is involved. I think the examination by the intelligence committees in both the Senate and the House will be focused on whether there has been coordination from the United States, from the Trump campaign with Russia. And I have confidence in the intelligence committees.
You don't think we need some kind of blue ribbon panel to take a look at this, independent of Republican majorities?
Not yet, perhaps it'll come to that, but the intelligence committees tend to be bipartisan, and I'm particularly impressed with Senator Burr and Senator Warner, who are the leaders of the Intelligence Committee in the Senate, and I think they're doing an excellent job. And based upon what Senator Burr has said so far, I think he intends to investigate this thoroughly, and I hope he does so.
How confident are you that the candidate, Trump, never had any such conversation with Russian intelligence?
I believe,
or with his counterpart now, Putin?
I believe the president has said that, but of course the Senate and House committees will be investigating this, and let the investigation proceed apace.
Congressman Leonard Lance, thanks for being here. We found your town hall very interesting and think all New Jersey Republicans should hold such events, maybe Democrats too. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Michael.